Good morning and welcome to another conversation with Mose. And as always, I pray life is treating you well wherever you are in the world and that you're one day closer to your dreams coming true. And of course, my podcast wouldn't be a podcast without a poem. And today's poem is written by yours truly. It's been a while. And this is from my book, Black Book 2, available now where books are sold. And this poem is called I Light a Candle. I light a candle to signify God's light in my darkness. I will look up and forward to the beautiful life that awaits me, using my faith as a compass to guide and direct my steps. I will tune out the voices not of God and only listen to the whispers in my ear that are from the Father himself. I will use my spirit of discernment to determine who is worthy of my time, friendship, and wisdom. There are only good people and bad people, and it is God who will show me the difference. I light a candle to signify God's light in my darkness. I am never, ever alone. Thank you for engaging with me on my poetry journey. That poem really to me, and sometimes, actually most times, even today especially, was a reminder of God is my light. And I actually did light candles today, this morning. And to be honest with you, I really wasn't sure I was going to do a podcast because I was, to be honest, literally had a lot on my mind this morning and wasn't, what did I have to say, And sometimes my mind gets cloudy and it gets full of stuff, life stuff, and I just lose myself in it. So of course I prayed first, and then I said, you know what, let God direct my steps, even in the podcast. So today my podcast is about life happens when we have other plans. And it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, most of us go through life, planning things out and just, you graduate from high school, you go to college, you get married, you have kids. That's some of our plans, and then sometimes it just doesn't go that way. You don't get the life that you expected to have or to live. So you kind of are trying to figure it out what you're supposed to be doing in the meantime. And that's kind of where I am, to be honest with you. I am trying to figure out what's working for me and what's not working for me. And it's really internal, honestly. Again, life happens. And I've gone into the 2023 expecting, my hopes are high. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having high hopes. I think you just have to be hopeful, be realistic, be honest, make peace with things that you have no control over, and roll with it. And my biggest challenge is when I'm feeling some kind of way, I want to kind of remove myself. I want to distance myself from people when I'm going through a transition or a problem or anything that's troubling me. I just want to be left alone. But I'm trying honestly to not do that because I know that's not necessarily helpful. So I'm speaking to those people that want to kind of get reclusive and get alone. And sometimes that's not necessarily good to do when you're feeling some kind of way. You want to retreat from the world, stay under the covers, just kind of remove yourself from life. But it's not probably the best thing to do. You probably do need to reach out and talk to somebody. And I think the biggest challenge for me is the loneliness I feel because I feel like there is nobody to really talk to other than God. that truly understands what you're going through, because it's exhausting having to explain to people over and over this is what's going on, and nobody can really truly give you what you need in terms of wisdom. So my goal every day is to look for God in people. Maybe he'll speak to me through somebody. I don't care if it's a homeless man on the street. I know God's voice when I feel like he's speaking to me. And when you're going through something personal, professional, to me, they all go together. If something's bothering me professionally, it affects my personal life. And if it's something bothering me personally, it affects my professional life. So it's trying to find that balance in your life. And to be honest with you, I'm not a religious guru or fanatic, but I don't know how people do anything without a spiritual base nowadays. The world is so crazy. I don't know how people do it without having some kind of spiritual groundness in something. Whether you believe in God or not, I cling to God desperately. I mean, I literally, I feel like if I let go of God, I don't know what'll happen. I really genuinely do. That's not Bible toting. That's just me being me. I was raised to have a trust in God that I do. And honestly, I think that's the reason I'm still here, the reason I'm surviving when life happens to me. And believe me, life has happened to me. I mean, you can hear from my podcast, from the stories that I've shared with you guys, that life has happened. And honestly, I'm still transitioning from COVID, all the financial challenges that came up. I'm still trying to rise above it. I've been grinding with my store and podcasting, trying to sell books. And to be honest with you, it's challenging being a man of a certain age, getting back out into the workforce. And it's a different environment than I'm used to. That's an adjustment for me. I'm very old school when it comes to work ethic. And I got my work ethic from my dad and my mom. And I believe in hard work and it pays off. But, there's so much nepotism and favoritism at work nowadays. And it's so not, I've seen it, don't get me wrong. I've experienced those things before. But my spirit is just soaking in all this bad energy. And I'm doing everything I can to not let it get in my space, in my spirit. And it's challenging. It is. It's really challenging not to let life get you down. And there are some moments, like I said, I got stuff waiting for me as soon as I get off the podcast that I got to address. And I honestly, sometimes I don't feel like it. Calls I got to make, arrangements I got to prepare for. And sometimes you just don't feel like doing nothing. Sometimes, you know what? Today's not the day. And first of all, I do encourage people to take a day off. Sometimes you really do need to take a mental break from your troubles, because they will be there when you're done. They will. And the other thing, the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to be around the right people. I just can't bring myself to be around bad energy. Like I said in my previous podcast, I just can't. People that mean me no good or have no good intention for me, whether they're a friend, coworker, family member, I just can't engage. I don't even want to argue with you. I don't want to debate with you. People like that just will not get my energy at all. I'll speak, say hello, how you doing, have a nice life, but I can't. I don't have the energy to argue with people, fight people about anything, unless I absolutely have to. It's, like I said before, I used to have this need to have the last word. I have to say something to respond to you. I don't feel that anymore. Unless I have to respond, I just don't. That's why I don't understand cyberbullying. All these people that get upset when people say things to them online. You don't have to respond. People say things to me that I think is very inappropriate, whether it's online, offline, literally almost every single day. Whether they're saying something about my age, saying something about me being black, quietly saying something about me being gay. It's always going to be something. And if I could speak to the little boy in me when I was a kid and just say to him, don't worry about it. You are a great man. And the things I would have told myself back then, I look back at my childhood and I can see the mistakes that I was making with myself, believing things that people were telling me. And to this day, I think I still believe some of the things that were shared with me that I know is not true. Like in my mind, I can still see that chubby teenager. Like when I look in the mirror, sometimes I still see him, that chubby, insecure, nobody's ever going to like me little boy. And I'm always giving him attention. And even the little boy, the angry little boy in me, I always have to give him his attention also. Like I can tell when I'm being one of them, when I'm being the little boy, when I'm being the teenager, when I'm being the young man in my 20s. I know all of them very well. I know their weaknesses. I know their strengths. So when life is happening to me, I know at any given point I'm going to be one of them. And sometimes I'm all of them at the same time. And then also being my older self. And this is new for me, being an older man. It's like I'm outside of my body and I see that I'm wise and I can see my regalness. But it's so weird. It's weird being this guy because I never thought I'd be this guy. Like I said, a man of a certain age, and I'm proud to be here in this space, and I'm proud of all the things I've accomplished, which makes it even more difficult because I feel like my confidence is through the roof. I feel very regal, very confident. I really do feel like a king. But when you're treated like a pauper or when you're treated disrespectfully by people that don't see your greatness, it's challenging for me. It really is challenging. And I do, again, get depressed and I get sad. And trusting God is easy for me, but some days it's just, I don't trust man. The way the world treats people, all these man-made problems that are that are plaguing people, that I see every day on the news, people losing their children through gunshots and parents losing their kids and black parents and, kidnappings and sex trafficking and all this other stuff that I see. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine that kind of trauma. I pray every day for my family. And it's really just strangers that I don't know. I just can't imagine adding to my problems by having other problems on top of other problems. And it really doesn't matter about your financial, because if you're wealthy and a billionaire, if you get cancer and you're going to die, you're going to die. There's no money that you get, whether it's Alzheimer's or whatever disease that's going to plague you, it's going to happen no matter what kind of money you have. So, and you might have plans to live a long, prosperous life, but if it's not meant for you. So I try to live my life every day. Like, what can I do to add something to the world? And I don't want this podcast to feel like it's, oh, woe is me, because it's really not meant for that. It's really one of those things I want people to know they're not alone. And I want to speak for the everyday man and woman because, like I said, I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm not going to talk about stars and celebrities and who's this and that, giving the tea, as they say, on this and that. That's just not me. There are people that could give a damn about what the Kardashians are doing when you got bills to pay. You got stuff. You worrying about your kids every time they leave your presence. You got kids in college for the first time going to school and they're living away from home. There's so many things that are more important than celebrities. And it's okay to be inspired. It's okay to be encouraged. I'm constantly inspired. Myself, I look for inspiration. Literally every day, every second of the day, I'm looking for something to inspire me. And it's hard. It's really hard. Sometimes you got to make yourself do stuff you don't feel like doing. Get up and just do it. And again, it's not easy. It's really not. And I wish I had a simple answer, you know, and people say, "Oh, just pray about it." I don't believe in just praying about it. I do believe you have to put things in action. Like today, I don't really have a plan. There are things that I plan to do, that I want to do, but some of those things may get done today, some of them may not. But I don't know. Just like my screenplay, I'm almost done with it, but it's been challenging me to finish it because I've had so many other things come up in my life that have kind of distracted me from it. No, don't get me wrong. My screenplay will get done. It will be completed. But I've just had a lot of distractions that have kept me from finishing it. And one thing as a writer, your mind has to be completely clear of anything when you're trying to focus on creating something beautiful. And my screenplay is like my baby. It means everything to me. It's very important to me that it's presented the right way, and I'm not overthinking it. I'm very proud of what I've already written. It's again very, very important to me, and I'm very protective of it. But it will get done. I don't have any doubt in my mind about it. I had planned on it being done a year ago, but again, when you plan things, life happens when you have other plans. And like I said, today was not the subject that I wasn't going to talk about this particular subject, but I felt like it was important that I be honest with you guys. And business has been really slow. I mean, I'm really trying to figure out ways to market myself more, to get more listeners, to get more customers to my store. All things Moetic. And I'm very proud of my store. But I do get discouraged because as a photographer, I think people, all they want to see is nudes and sexuality, and everybody wants to sell sex and OnlyFans pages. And, I just can't. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with beautiful people, but I just don't see that through my lens. I mean, everything doesn't have to be sexual, and it just seems like music. Everybody's talking about sex, and everybody's talking about getting off or whatever, and it's overwhelming to me. But there's so many other things that life offers other than that are just as beautiful. And that's what I sell. I'm selling hope. I'm selling love. I'm selling history. So when you come to my store, you're going to see things that are going to inspire you. That's what I want. I don't want my legacy to be where I'm just selling sex or something that's not me. Whether it's my poetry, my photos, I definitely want to represent something that makes people feel good, especially in black culture. I have nothing against other cultures at all, but I love our resilience. That's why I love Gordon Parks, and I love black photographers that capture the things that I capture, because I think we're amazing people. Forgive me, I'm getting a little cold. But I just feel like, why am I not selling the way I want to sell? What do I need to do? And I don't want to do what other people are doing. I mean, I like, again, the lane that I'm in. And it is hard. You're thinking, like, my price is too high. Should I come down? But I'm worth it. I am worthy of the prices I'm not dumbing down, nor am I going to lower my standards for somebody else. Because to be honest with you, I feel like if I was a white guy with the same stuff and it was double the prices, you would pay it. You'd pay it. So I'm not, even though I'm making a lot of sacrifices to keep my creativity afloat, I definitely am not going to let it keep me from my goals and my dreams. And again, I do get bumps in the road, and life does happen when you have plans. And it's not always easy to get through those bumps. And I'm just trying to figure it out like everybody else. But like I said, what I won't do is give up. I won't give up. I may get delayed. I may stop. I may cry. I may scream. I may shout for a minute. I may even get extremely down. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up on what I believe God has planned for me. Even though the people have discouraged me. And again, I could get online. I can say a whole bunch of things. I got receipts. I could name names about the people that have hurt me through my life, that have really threw me off track. And I don't know how I've done it, honestly. I really don't. I really don't know how I've managed to come this far without God's help. There's no way I could have done this without God. I know that sounds really simple. People say, oh, with God, it's true. There's no way I could have pulled myself together. And I thank God He's given me the gift of poetry, because I can honestly say that's the reason why I have 13 books. I put everything in my poetry. If you want to know anything about Mose Hardin, it's in my books, whether it's tragedy, brokenheartedness, devastation, trauma, anger, joy, it's in my books. And how some people think I'm just writing about gay stuff, I'll never know. I mean, God bless the people that can just write about gay stuff. You know, I'm not that gay guy, but I write about everything. Life has happened to me, and I write about it. Whether it's somebody died suddenly, or somebody broke my heart, or somebody disappeared, or I lost my job, my car broke down, anything. Because life is filled of ups and downs and ins and outs, and love is fleeting. You know, you could be here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, it's unrealistic to think that nothing's ever going to happen. You know, we're blessed. Some things I've never experienced, and I'm grateful for that. I've never been homeless, which is another one of those subjects I wanted to talk about surviving, which I decided on the next podcast I will talk about that. My suggestions on surviving in this economy, in this world right now. But again, I just want to talk about when we do have plans, like these plans that we want to see out, and sometimes we get distracted, we get thrown off, and it doesn't go exactly the way we planned it. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. But I do get discouraged. But I am still hopeful. You know, like I said, I'm not rich, I'm not famous. And I don't have anything I don't think I'm deep. I think I'm just honest and transparent, and I think people really want to hear that. You know, I could say all these different things, and I could get on TikTok and dance, and I love dancing. Believe it or not, I'll do a TikTok video one of these days. But I just want people to know that they're not alone in their experience. You know, like, again, I know there are people out there that are suicidal and really extremely devastated about their lives, and I totally get it. But I can't allow myself. My life is too precious to me to ever do anything to myself. And I know God loves me. You know, I do. And He keeps my heart beating. He keeps me motivated and encouraged. But again, I'm human. I stumble, I fall. Like I said, I get up again. I'll fall down, I get up again and again and again. And I'll probably spend my whole life trying. Even if I never get what I'm looking for, even if I never get what I think I want for my life, I'm never going to be the guy that they said didn't try. And I want my legacy to be Mose was always doing something. He was always. And then I love the fact that my voice will always be here with these podcasts. My experiences, my life, my poetry, my books, my imagery, it's all a reflection of who I am. My character, my strength, my faith. And that's worth fighting for. I'm worth fighting for. I know I am. And I'm fighting for myself, so I'm telling you to fight for yourself. Fight for your right to be happy. Even if it takes one stone at a time, just do it. I can't say it enough. We all have to lean on each other, even during the most difficult times. And I can honestly say this has been a challenging time for me. And I don't have the answers. The only thing I can do is keep trying and see what works, see what doesn't work. And whatever's for me is for me. But I can promise you one thing: no matter what God has in store for me, I'll never forget this time in my life. I will never forget the the situations I had to rise above, the people I had to rise above. Because I refuse to be an angry, bitter old man. That's just, I'm going to die happy. I'm going to live a happy life. And this bitterness and anger, like I said before, I'm not arguing with people. I'm not here to spend the rest of my days, however long they are, trying to be right, trying to make a point. If you don't like me, you don't like me. I'm not trying to convince anybody to like me. You do or you don't. I'm just in a space where I'm just going to be me, unapologetically me. And I'm going to make the statements I want to make. Some people may like it, some people may not. But it's okay. It really is. I'm going to create until I can't create anymore. And that's just what my life means to me. So the more the sadness I experience, the more I'm going to push to be great. In the midst of my sorrow, I'm going to definitely, and as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm going to light my candle. Because God is the light in my darkness, and He always will be. And you have to surround yourself with people that can be light in your darkness. And then you also have to be light in somebody else's darkness, whatever that means to you. So, and again, I also want to reiterate, you guys stopping by my store. It really means a lot to me, the people that come by and peruse and have purchased things. But again, it's my baby. You know, it's where my soul is. So when you buy a piece of anything that I've created, you're buying a piece of my soul. It's more than just product. Whether you're reading one of my books or hanging something in your space, I love the idea of my poetry and my imagery hanging in someone's personal space, because that's where I want my stuff to be. I want you to be inspired when you look at it, when you read it, when you look up and say, okay, yeah, this is what I need to do today. So it's not just when you go by my store, keep that in mind. You're speaking to my soul. This is me. This is my pieces of me, to be honest, to be transparent. That's what my stuff is. That's what my store is, what my books are. So don't think about it as just me selling stuff. This is parts of me that you're getting, parts of my soul, parts of my reality. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. Yeah, it was a little longer than normal, but I had a lot to say this morning. And I want to thank God this morning for inspiring me to get up to do this podcast, because I really wasn't going to do one. And I want to thank you all again for listening. I appreciate you more than you know. I appreciate people that I've met and the people I haven't met yet. And as always, I pray life is treating you well, wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams coming true.